Good morning. It is Thursday, October 2nd at 9:01, and this is the Safety Committee meeting. Present is Chief Matt Delp, Councilperson Tommy Grant, our Mayor Tiffany Southard, Councilperson JP Martin, and myself, Councilperson Passion. And we're here to talk about current state of safety in the village and maybe do some planning, some talking about the future as well. Does anyone have anything immediate that you need to bring up before we get into anything else?
Just so you know, Mifflin Township has no officers after 11 p.m. And the county was running a special deputy, like overtime car there to cover Mifflin Township while they were off. And they run into an issue with the overtime costs, and they have removed that deputy. So they no longer have an overtime deputy specifically assigned to Mifflin. As such, the county has said that if they put out they're only answering priority 1 and 2 calls. That means like the worst calls. If they have like someone broke into my car call, that's going to the day shift. They're gonna say, call back at 8 a.m. So they're like, okay, so they won't be responding to those. But if they put out a call for any zone 2, that is a request for mutual aid, Mifflin, or Minerva Park, Blendon, and Clinton will respond to those calls available. So just so you know, you might see Minerva down in Mifflin occasionally.
Is it a temporary lack of personnel, or is this their new normal?
You know, I don't know. The county has been trying to work with the trustees, and it sounds like they don't care.
The trustees of Mifflin Township?
Correct.
Okay.
They've gone to them, I think they gave them an invoice for the overtime costs that the county's incurred, and they're like, we're not paying this. And
now, do you know, I'm asking this, I really don't, and are they do they not just want to hire people? I mean, obviously Mifflin is the one that lost the 2 officers for quite a while, but are they having problems hiring? Or do they just not want to hire anymore? Because I know that there's rumors of who wants more money.
They used to have like 7 officers down there, and when the new chief come in, everybody got raises and they eliminated some positions.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a matter of, putting your money, using your bucket of money wisely. Townships weren't different than, townships and counties run different than municipalities. They pretty much say, here's your money, and then it's up to the directors to figure out how to budget that money. So I think they've just reallotted their money to pay the officers, and then they don't have any money left to fully staff.
Okay.
But their chief is going off on extended medical leave. The one officer that got shot in the arm or hand just returned to work just a couple weeks ago. So he's back, but I think that gives them 2 officers maybe now.
Yeah, because they lost one. I think they have.
Maybe 3.
They have a female officer and they have him, but I don't know if there's anybody else.
Yeah, I think they're just down to like 2 officers that are actually working the road.
Yeah.
So is that tracked, the number of times our officers are called to help and that sort of thing? Are we able to track and see if this suddenly goes up and we're suddenly spending a lot more time in Mifflin?
Well, every call that we respond to is recorded, so we have that.
4156.
Okay. Yeah, because,
My brain thinks
Chief Wanda Wyman Service.
track and charge them too, even if it's not something we can pursue, but I mean, I don't know,
well,
for accountability's sake.
if not that, but then just also, if the secret goal is, well, the staffed departments will take up the slack for us, that we're,
Yeah, and just so you know, we're not actually handling the calls, we're going there. If any action needs to be taken, we just kind of hold the scene and until the county can get there. County's still responding,
okay,
but they're responding
Oh.
with their other deputies.
yeah,
They have staffing issues as well, so, their deputies may be all the way out in Jefferson Township and then have to respond in from, the other side of Gahanna or wherever they're at. So it may take them a while to get there, whereas Clinton and us can be there in minutes, hold the scene, they show up, they take over and finish the call, we leave. So it's more of a, just, mutual aid assistance, and then we're out.
okay.
I think it sounds worse than it probably really is, in my opinion, after seeing like some of these different things, because you have to think about it. At one point, we were down 3 officers, and if we have an officer that's tied up over here,
Right.
we're expecting them to respond as well. Mutual aid is for those situations.
Right.
And you don't wanna burn a bridge or anything like that, not
No.
that anybody's saying that, but you wanna make sure that, Blendon can get really busy sometimes, and second shift and third shift, they all work really, in my opinion, I've never heard that they haven't, they work really well together, whether it's second shift, third shift, first shift, and you just wanna make sure that you never know what our officers could be on a call for and could be tied up for hours, and then if there's somebody on Jordan that needs somebody, you want that Mifflin officer to show up, or Clinton, or whoever it is, so, I think it sounds worse than it is, but like he said, they're gonna have to do something. And now, I'm getting too into the woods, aren't they part of like Gahanna? How does that, it's not Gahanna, it is Mifflin, but it's part of.
So Gahanna is in Mifflin Township, but the
There.
taxes that Gahanna pays go to Gahanna, and then
Right.
they pay the township taxes, but the services provided are only paid for by the township residents. So if you have
That's
your,
weird.
like your fire department is different because those services are all of Gahanna, which is why the fire department has, new buildings and, nice equipment and everything. But the police department is kind of like, well, you guys are only responding to the residents of Mifflin Township. They don't respond to Gahanna, they don't do those things, so they're just, that bit of money is all you get from the Mifflin Township residents. Does that make sense?
It does.
I just didn't know how that was.
It's funny how weird the financing is. No, I mean, mutual aid, absolutely. My only concern is if this goes on and on, because in the bigger picture, isn't there kind of a lot of openings in the Central Ohio area police departments? And not knowing anything, it sounds like, do people not want to be police officers anymore? Are there just not people going through the academy as much as they used to?
I'm sorry, did you miss 2020?
Nobody wants, I think if officers, I'm gonna speak for my husband, if he could go somewhere and become an Amazon worker and make the same thing and not, it is very difficult. I'm saying it on a public record, I think for a lot of officers, it's difficult to get up and put that uniform on every single day and get spit in their face and, all of that. I think when you need an officer, you love them, and when you don't, and I shouldn't say that, there's a lot of people that are gracious and thank an officer every time and, whatever, but 2020's a thing for a lot of them.
Okay.
Yeah, law enforcement was demonized by the federal government, the mayors, everybody was just like, law enforcement, we need to defund the police, we need to reimagine criminal justice and all the stuff that went on, and so they tried it, and then they found out that law enforcement actually works if you just let it do its job. But that was a little too late, and then it put a bad taste in everybody's mouth, and everybody's like, why would I want to go be a police officer? I'd rather go work as an accountant or,
A welder.
Amazon. Amazon, so.
Yeah.
Those, we don't have the recruiting power that we used to have.
And I think you've alluded to, and correct me if I'm wrong, kind of the county that you operate in can also have a hand in how you, I don't want to say officiate, how you enforce laws in a certain county because you have a certain, maybe
And
a prosecutor.
And there's 88 counties in the state of Ohio, and each of them has a county prosecutor that determines how people will be prosecuted. So, and typically that's felonies, usually your misdemeanors are kind of, there's a lot of ordinances which dictate what sentencing will be. For instance, like you get an OVI, it's an automatic 3 days in jail, unless you go to a program, then you can waive the 3 days, and you know, there's like a sentencing structure in Muni, so it's not as prevalent, but the prosecutor's office pretty much dictates how they're going to be prosecuted, how they're going to be recogged, you know, so you have the people that get arrested for a felony, and before the paperwork's finished, they're already punched out of jail and are on their way back to doing whatever criminal acts they were doing before. There's been horror stories here in the county of people that have been arrested 3 times in a night. And it's like, that's insane to me. Like, can you just hold them overnight and then recog them out?
Dispatch to car 250.
Because then it comes to
250 guy.
Oh my
Can you go to
gosh.
tax for 19, please?
Go ahead.
Should be for a Westerville resource officer. It's going to be 614-797-6730, repeating 797-6730.
Hi, Kevin. I'm the only one working, just so you know.
Do you need to go do that?
I just gotta make a phone call, see what the Westerville resource officer wants. We had a situation yesterday involving a juvenile saying they were gonna burn a house down or something, so they were trying to figure it out last night, but just give me a minute.
We can talk about something else. And
Should
it'll
we hit
all,
pause?
yeah, can we pause these then? Are you okay with that?
So I was just asking the question, or gonna ask the question regarding like helping mutual aid stuff. Like just adding in the reports if it's not already month of October, we had 2 calls to help out Mifflin, and that way council knows.
Oh man, you're killing me, Smalls. I gotta hand count that stuff. I can't just pull a report.
That's such a shame.
He's messing with you.
No, I'm not messing with you.
No, because
really?
it's kind of like what I said, because.
I have to go and look at the address and see if it's in the village or
Oh,
if
they
it's
don't
in
have-
the, and so,
No, because like the officers can go, like if it's a Mifflin call, they can like make the decision if if they're gonna go. So he would just see it like at like an address or whatever.
yeah, I had to look at the address of every call to see. I don't have like a way to go filter out just the calls that are outside the village.
Do you think that would mostly be second and third shift to where we could just for the month of October ask them to say, hey, if you go to Mifflin, will you just shoot me an email to tell, or whatever, or just ask. I mean, I've met some of these guys, I feel like they could probably just tell you, hey, this week I went to 2 Mifflin calls or something.
Go ahead.
I don't know.
We could,
Signal 9, 555 Cherry Street.
we could maybe find a way for them to keep a log of the number of times that they respond to Mifflin, just to see what that looks like overall. I would anticipate that mainly it's gonna be Clinton, because Clinton and Mifflin right up against each other.
I agree.
Unless Clinton's tied up, would be when we would probably respond. And then Blendon, they hate to go south of Morse Road, in general, so, so they'll probably be like the 3rd line of defense there for Mifflin, but, if Clinton's tied up, we'll go, and then Blennon will respond with us so that there's 2 officers. But we're also not going to be flying down there, lights and siren and just, you know, endangering ourselves to get to the calls.
Like, I didn't know if it was gonna be maybe 2, 3 a month or like 45.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I was just wondering.
I would, so, we could, you know, maybe we could talk to the county, and find out how often their overtime officer was responding to calls over the last 6 months or so. Then that would give us some idea. But again, the Clinton will be the first ones to go. In fact, like today, there's 1 officer working. So when he goes on a 2-man call, Clinton goes over and runs with him. Or county will, you know, eventually show up. And then sometimes the Mifflin officer will just cancel the assist and handle it themselves. Like, I'll check and advise, and they'll go down and see what the situation is, and if they need another officer, then they'll call for another officer, but mainly it's Clinton. Currently, we probably go down 2 or 3 times a month, maybe, you know, but it varies, you know, I mean, it's unpredictable. Yeah, I can maybe get some numbers from the county just to see what that looks like, and then I can maybe extrapolate some kind of a guess.
Cody, from here back around to home.
I was just curious, you know,
Yeah,
like if it's under 5, it's kind of like a month. It's,
yeah, and the main thing is just to see if it becomes a strain on our resources.
Yeah, I think the point being is that if they call for help, we're gonna go. And just wanted to let you guys know.
Yep,
From the safety committee that there may be officers leaving the village, to assist.
okay.
In the past, it has been, hey, can you start me a car? And then dispatch goes, well, Clinton's tied up. Minerva, can you start with, and they make that decision for the mutual aid. And so now it's gonna be any zone 2, which is the county is asking for the mutual aid, not Mifflin.
Got it.
Got it? So the county will now be asking for, hey, we've only got 1 car out and they are all the way over here in zone 2 responding to Mifflin, and can someone go with them?
So we can build a county.
So, yeah.
Kind of serious, kind of not.
But then the county would bill us for the investigative work they do for us.
Yeah.
so back to today, how is our police department? I think we're fully staffed?
Yeah, we pulled our SRO from the school.
Oh,
It was at his request and after we had a use of force incident at the school. So the school took half the responsibility for that. They had our SRO working as an administrator. And they're not supposed to do that. And they asked for a law enforcement response. They got a law enforcement response when they wanted an administrative response, and everybody got upset. So the officer, you know, we told him, okay, listen, the school wants, unless it's a crime or it affects the safety and security of the school, you just stand back and go, not my problem. And the school was like, yeah, we can 100% get behind that. So now it's all staff, but then the officer, the SRO was just like, I can't do this anymore, and I need out. So
So there won't be any more Mineral Park officers up there right now, or?
there's no SRO up there right now because Westfold refuses to cover it as well.
So but in fact, if they call the police, they call the police. I mean, we would respond
If they call,
immediately.
if they call, I'll go.
Yeah, but there's not an officer standing in there.
SROs aren't required?
No,
Huh, okay. Huh,
no, that's a service provided. We share the cost, and during the school year, they pay half the cost of the officer.
I'm allowed to ask what the use of force was, or?
It was just, and basically, he took an 11-year-old, held her and took her to the office.
Oh,
Yeah.
And everyone lost their minds, especially the parent. So,
all right, moving right along.
Well,
Oh.
does the SRO patrol now, or?
yes, that's why we're fully staffed.
Okay. Fair enough.
Okay, good. Yeah, I think we only have one in the, I'm going to call it the probationary period, and I'm sure that's not right, but like when they first come on, it's 6 months, so.
2.
Is it 2 months?
No, we have 2 in there.
Oh, 2 in the, okay, good. Cool, yeah, and we anticipate good things from the newbies and all that.
So far, yeah.
Yeah, good. Okay,
Go down some questions.
that's a long list.
I know, you're gonna love this. So, do we have any safety concerns from residents about speeding, reckless driving, possible lack of visible enforcement in both residential areas, high traffic areas? Are existing traffic laws being upheld strongly as they could be, do you think, or?
I think we continue to enforce the laws like we've been doing for years. We try to be omnipresent, so we try to be everywhere, so people think when they come through the village that there's a police officer sitting in everywhere. So, you know, we work the main areas where we see the most. See, this is the problem. The officers are up here and dispatch is down here. You can hear like she's copy. And then they yell. And
Number one complaint of a police officer.
if the dispatcher just moved her face closer to the mic. So, so we continue to hit the areas where we see the most offenses, so we concentrate on those. But it's also a perception issue. People see a UPS truck going 25 and they appear to be going 60 because they're so big.
Doors are rattling, you can hear the wind breaking.
And then they like, oh my God, the cars are flying down here. And it's amazing, since we put up the speed signs on Maplewood and Minerva Lake Road, how the speed complaints dropped. And they're like, oh, these signs are great. And it's like, are they, or did you just now actually know what speeds you're seeing? Because I think that's the big part of it. It's a perception. They believe these cars are flying. And don't get me wrong, there are speeders. We write tickets all the time in the village because people speed. But I don't think we can work any harder at it.
Would anything else help you? Let me just stay on this for a second.
More cops.
Okay. Yeah, and
20 good.
30?
Maybe 5, 10, 15. 15.
5 per shift, yeah. I'm
Cover
gonna
all
go
the
with that too.
entrances.
5 per shift.
We could sit one in each.
Yeah.
If we have 5 per shift, we'd have 3 on each shift.
We just might need more cars just to park them. They don't need to have people in them.
People have said that. They were like, just park one of those cruisers down at the Minerva Lake Road, like, intersection.
I do love when they started doing that in the parking lot here, because it slowed me down every time.
Yeah.
And
That's what they used
So
to do
it
back in the
works.
day. They would just leave it sitting out there.
I know.
So, I just wrote down some of these concerns that I had. So like the village relies heavily, and this kind of goes back to the whole Mifflin thing. The village kind of relies heavily on income tax and levy funding to sustain payroll and maintain the current size of our police force. If our residents lose confidence in these revenue streams is jeopardized, we may not be able to support the department as we would like. So I'm just kind of, thinking about consistent enforcement directly affects the community and safety and long-term financial stability. And if so, what do you think that we can do as council to help your situation now?
Tell your constituents that we have a great police department. They're doing the best they can. It's a very difficult job, and they should say the support in every way they possibly can.
Okay.
Fair enough.
I'll be clear from here.
I think that's the other part, when you have counsel that, I don't, if something bad's going on, you handle it, but when you've got good things going on, I think that's just as important.
Yeah.
So just being able to, or just, again, emailing chief and saying, hey, this particular area, I've heard a couple things, before it gets bigger than it should, just like the Minerva Lake Road thing. So I think it's communication with council and
What the Ponderosa boys do.
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, I've not had one complaint. I had that compliment from the sign. I feel like the signs, like he was talking about, I feel like the signs, again, whether it's perception or whether it's the signs, it's worked. So, I mean, I feel like that has, I mean, I've actually had someone call and tell me thank you for putting it in their area because they feel like it really helped. So, again, feelings or not, it's important because they feel like you're listening to them.
It's interesting because like I think about the flock cameras versus the speeding signs. It's like they can just see the number on the sign or see that it's being enforced, but with the flock cameras, it's also like they don't always know what's going on when they drive past them, but things are actively working behind the scenes to
Yep.
make sure that there's safety established. But they see that one, so it's definitely more.
I know, and the
front
problem with the police is you don't know something's wrong until there's like no police, you know? I mean, right now, we all have such an incredibly high comfort level with how safe we are in the village. And it's because of our police department. And I think people know that intellectually, but, you know, God forbid anything should happen.
Why do we need police? Because nothing happens.
Right?
Nothing happens because we have the police.
Exactly, yes, I know, so, yeah, and we know, as
Just go back to
council,
2011, 12.
yeah,
2013,
Yeah, because it was right when you got here.
when there were 2 officers. 2.
I can't imagine.
That's how it used to be for the longest time.
Home invasion started went up.
Oh,
It was getting really violent.
Yeah.
And then the people went, hey, what? And they said, well, we need money. And that's when they passed the levy in 14, which led to all the hirings, and then everything kind of went up from there.
yeah, no, I mean, I'm
Now-
glad
and
you're
now
not,
we're- Now we're safe again.
yeah, no, thank goodness. So you go ahead.
I have 3 more things, so I'll make this easy. Going back to the flock cameras, I would like to suggest too, I don't know if anybody else would like to, or suggestions possibly. I was thinking, this is just me, possibly one on Jordan Road wouldn't be a bad idea. And maybe one exiting through Ponderosa. If we don't have one, I don't think we do. I know there was talks in the meetings about moving the Westerville Road, Minerva Lake Road to Westville Road camera, but I think that needs to stay, even though it's temporarily down at the moment. But any thoughts, any ideas?
I thought we were
Oh,
budgeting for next year,
Oh.
but maybe I'm wrong.
So, the Minerva Lake Road one is already in the queue at Flock to be moved. It's gonna get moved up by the middle school, or the elementary school on Farview. That is getting moved for free, if I read the email correctly, because of the construction. So, because of the construction of the wood riding, they're gonna move that one, and it's no cost to us, which is a $750 savings. Every time we move one of those, it's like, you
A
know,
lot.
$750. So, the additional camera is $3,000 a year in the budget. So if you want 2, that's 6, which would take us to,
Almost 20.
what do we have? We got 4 plus the Condors, 5. And then you want to add 2 additional, would be 7. And then,
$2,000 a year.
yeah.
I mean, but wouldn't it be beneficial and for safety or no? That's, I mean, this is like a question, I don't, like if it helps you out and the neighborhood out, then I would think council would be for it, but if it's not.
So the look back is actually very beneficial. It's kind of like one of those, how often do we get hits on these things? Because it's not as prolific, we don't get the the stolen cars and stuff coming through here very often. We do get them from time to time, but a lot of times it was coming off of Farview and then maybe a cut through. Or we get, hit on someone with a warrant that comes through. But most of the time, people are driving around Minerva Park if they're committing those offenses because they know that there's cops everywhere in Minerva Park, so they don't want to come through. So the putting one up at Cleveland and Jordan might be beneficial. Just because of the new business we have up there, if there's gonna be an increase in traffic and what's going on, so, but I don't know what we don't know, so, I can't tell you how beneficial it'd be, I don't know what's up there. We set and run plates, when you see us sitting on the side of the road running radar also, when cars pass, we run their plate and, just, we're doing the same thing that a flock camera's doing. It just does it automatically for us. So when we're over here, they start a camera over there running every plate that comes through.
Well, that's kind of like the question, do we just need maybe possibly one more, or do you think, or? Because I support flock cameras or anything that can help.
One of the camera that's here at North Bay, I would recommend moving that camera to Jordan and seeing how that plays out.
Okay.
If the Jordan Road camera is, if we start getting a lot of activity on that, then it's like, all right, that was a good move. Then entertain the idea of adding an additional camera to replace the one we moved, or repurpose that one to Ponderosa or some other location.
This is just a general question. When you put it on Jordan, because Cleveland Avenue's right there, would it be just on Jordan to where it's gonna pick up the ones that are going up Jordan or out, obviously up Jordan? Or is it gonna pick up so much on Cleveland Avenue, because I don't think they'd be able to keep up with that?
So it would be facing Jordan Road.
Okay.
If we put it on Cleveland Avenue, it would just be a constant.
That's what, and
Ding, 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 ding,
Right.
and these guys would be running all the way up to,
They just sit
Strockboro
there,
trying to
yeah.
find those cars. Or they would park down at Minerva Lake and have it pointed the other way so that they could see them coming southbound.
Right.
Because you could just set up and turn your system on and just open it up and wait for a hit to come by and
Yeah.
get a description of the vehicle, and then wait when the vehicle drives by southbound and jump out. But no, we don't. Cleveland Avenue, we do enforcement up there because of the businesses and the complaints from the residents saying they can't get out on Cleveland Avenue because of, it's just high speed, it's like death on a stick for them. So we're out there trying to slow those people down while still providing coverage for the businesses out there.
Copy, guys.
Because as I said, when you drive by, you go, oh, there's gonna be an officer sitting up here by these stores, I'm gonna slow down here, is the idea. So then, you're out there running it, and then people go, they're speeding on Minerva Lake Road all the time, you guys aren't out here because we're over there, so you move over here, and then it's just this whole, you're running around just putting out fires, whack-a-mole. So, as the complaints come in, we address them. As they, and often, Hey Jim, can I call you back? Hello? Yeah, can I? Yeah, I'm in a meeting. Can I call you back? Yeah, call me back. All right, nothing. That was Chief Gilbert from Franklin County. So when I call him back, I'll ask him for that information about the number of calls that they
The
run.
caller on Elmore
In fact,
called in and said that.
I might have
they talked to
actually-
somebody at the residence on Oakland Park, and they think that
I might
she is
actually
there, but
have
they're
those
not
numbers
information.
on a piece of paper downstairs, because we had a meeting about Mifflin, with Mifflin last month, or in August. So that should be.
Do you have more questions about today? Because this conversation leads into the future, but I don't want to cut you off.
Just two.
Okay. Just equipment for the future.
Yeah, I mean, well, that was kind of the first part of it. Number two was, we talked briefly about possibly having like a training program for Minerva Park to have an officer kind of being trained from within, that you get to mold Minerva Park kind of ways, lack of a better term. Any ideas on that still, or if we want to pursue that?
It's a 26-week academy.
Mhm.
And then you have 12 to 14 weeks of field training. So we're talking 9, 10 months to have no officer. I don't know if,
I mean, I could say that like if we start now, we have a future, for a Minerva Park officer that could grow.
plus, we would have to have some kind of civil agreement with that officer that they wouldn't leave for 2 years, 3 years, whatever that might look like. And then thirdly, how would you enforce that?
Huh.
Yeah,
Somebody's gonna create the program, manage the program,
so,
administer the program.
I mean, let's say Kathy wants to be a police officer, she puts in an application, but she has no police experience, so we go, okay, we're gonna pay you to go to the academy. So, while you're in the academy, you get like your pay. Once you're out of the academy, and we'll pay in, you're hired employee, so you get your pay, you get, your benefits and all that. So you're in the academy. Hopefully you graduate the academy. You can pass PT and get, your scores high enough to graduate. Once you graduate, then you have to pass the state test. Hopefully you pass the state test and get it through that. You get, I think, 2 chances. After that, you go back through the academy. So there would have to be a lot of agreements, and we would be, in that time, we would have that missing employee. So we'd have the situation where you're short an officer. And, we could have them maybe come in and ride and maybe shorten that FTO period. But then they're in the academy 5 days a week. Do we want them to come in on their 6th day? Do we pay them to be here the 6th day? And so it becomes very complicated and difficult. I just don't know if the village is ready for that kind of financial and time investment.
It's not just minus an officer, you're also paying an officer that's not providing a service to the village
Yes.
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah, so it's,
I think the only way that would actually work is if you're going to create a position for 2027 and you wanted to put someone through it and financially be prepared for it for 2026, but basically be adding a position, not necessarily taking over. Because again, if you did that right now, we don't have it. As of today, we do not have an open position, a part-time maybe, but we don't have an open position. So if you guys were going to create a position as how many officers are we at? Add 1, plus 1. If in 2027 you wanted to have one more, because you can't bank on not having one. So I think the way that would work is if you guys were going to increase our police department by 1, then you could potentially do that, because then you wouldn't be down an officer. But I don't know from him whether or not he thinks we need 1 more to potentially be like a swing shift. I'm not getting into that, but that would make sense if you were training someone knowing that you were going to increase your police department. Would make sense to me.
Is there a rough academy cost as well? What's an academy?
I
I don't need pennies, but.
God, it's like
8 to 10.
5 or 6 grand maybe.
Okay.
Maybe a little higher.
I was going to say 8 to 10, but I don't know.
No, I
I
think it's
might have
like,
been like 16.
I think it's like 5 or 6.
5 or 6. Something.
Sounds right. That's the number to my head.
So I think you're part of at least a local, if not statewide, police chief group, affinity group, you know what I'm trying to say, professional association,
Yes.
correct? So probably you guys are talking about this sort of thing, right? Because looking down the road, you know, and that's where I'd like to move unless anyone has anything else current. We want to position the police to be as successful as possible in the future. My personal belief, it is totally my personal belief, that probably doesn't mean a lot more personnel. I'm more interested in making sure, hopefully somehow we have an avenue to get people when we need them. But I feel like as much equipment, whatever that means, is what I really want to focus on as well. Because I'm not convinced, frankly, with the village's budget and knowing that we're kind of where we're going to be. I mean, we don't really have a lot more ways to make money. And so how can we maximize where we are? And to me, that's getting you guys the absolute best equipment in as many places as possible. And so you can either speak to it now or speak to it at some point in the future. But that's what I'm curious about 5 to 10 years down the road. And if you have any thoughts now, we'd love to hear them.
Just a few years ago, before we had this, the only thing that we had to offer people was equipment. So when people came in, it's like, you look at the building and they're like, oh, this is a nice police department down here in the basement. And with these asbestos floors. But when they went out and looked at the cars and the equipment and everything, they were like, wow. Just to give you kind of a little side note on that. One of the officers here had to give a sheriff's deputy a ride back to his cruiser after a foot pursuit or whatever was going on. So he was given a ride, and the deputy got into the cruiser and he's sitting there looking around and he's like, this is like one of the nicest cars, he goes, I've been in. He goes, it's like really clean and taken care of. He goes, all our cars at the county are just like pieces of crap that are just trashed because the officers don't take pride in their equipment. So here, at least, at present, the officers tend to take care of their equipment because it is nice and they want to maintain it. And that was what we had to offer. So then we had this nice building, so now people come in and they're like, oh, because there's 3 people now that are working here that had never seen the old building.
Ah, good.
They have no reference of where we came from. So they come in and they're like, well, yeah, this is what, a police department should be, So they're not as appreciative of the building as the people who, dude, you should have been here when we had the old place, right? But they still get the nice equipment, the things that we can, provide them. I would like to have, night vision, some kind of thermal optics for the people who work overnight, because we do get those calls where, oh, there's somebody skulking around on, and I don't know if you've been out here at 2 a.m, but it is dark.
It's so dark.
It is dark in this village. It's like half the residents don't believe in porch lights. So, if the officers had some way of, looking between houses or looking, down around tree lines and stuff like that for potential prowlers and stuff like that, that would be beneficial. They're also, if you get one that's, they have cheap ones out there, that just don't work. But to get one that's, you're talking $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 for something like that. But and then of course we'd have to have training. They'd have to maintain it and stuff like that. So you try to get these guys to go, okay, listen, officers, if you're gonna get this very expensive piece of equipment, you need to be very careful with it, take care of it, because, you won't get another one. Not for years, because this was, this is a $10,000 thermostat. But that would be a piece of equipment that would be highly beneficial, but it's very specific But, you know, when we get out here and you've got like the kid who wandered off, you know, someone left the door open and so like that, or you have an elderly person that we're looking for, and, you know, maybe they're out there, you know, or we respond to help somebody else and they're searching a wooded area. Hey, over there's a hot spot, go check that out. And they, you know, so there's some benefit to that, something like that, but it's just really expensive. So when you look at that and you go, okay, we need new radars on the cars, or I could spend all this money on a thermal scope. We go with the radars. What was the thing we're going to use daily? You know, so there's constant trying to figure out the best way to prudently spend the budget in order to keep the police department operating at a high level without, you know, getting these exotic toys that maybe some of the residents would go, why do we need a thermal scope? You know, so when you talk about equipment, we just want to maintain that high quality stuff that's essential to the basic functions. Occasionally get us something that would help. You know, we got guys here that's like, we need a drone. I'm like, why do we need a drone? I go, if we get a drone program, you have to go, there's FCC licensing, we have to send you to a school, you have to become a drone pilot, there's the restrictions on height and stuff, and then, you know, it's like, what is the benefit use, like how often have you been out there where you go, oh, we need a drone? And he's like, well, we get alarm drops into school, we like check the roof. I'm like, because of all the times that they've broken in through the roof, you know, so,
Could add a thermal camera to it.
and then, but those are the ones you get, they're those $40,000 drones.
Somebody around here has one.
Here's what the difference is. Hey, county, you guys got a drone operator out? And the county goes, heck yeah, we do. We're on our way. Like, how many times have you guys called and asked for a drone? We've used it like 3 or 4 times in the village. When we had the missing kid from the elementary school that was wandering around. We had an elderly that was missing that was out here bebopping. Which that was an interesting call because they set up over at the funeral home, and some guy over on Green Line came over and wanted to fight the deputy drone operator because the drone was over his house.
234.
Like what? See, this is Mifflin right there.
234.
You have a walk-up at your 25?
So they, this guy was like mad because the drone was over his house. He said, so we're looking for a missing kid. He's like, I don't care. I don't want your drone over my house.
Oh my gosh.
He was like so angry that the county's drone was over his house. He didn't care that there was a missing child. That's what we deal with out here. So, anyway, equipment wise, we want to maintain and keep our, right now we're at a 5-year cycle on the vehicles. I want to maintain that. We now have an extra car because of the SRO that we held back that we didn't trade in. They're now using that for special duty. We'll probably put the 257 plates back on that unless for some reason we go back into the school. Right now there's no big desire to replace the SRO because what Westerville did was they took the 3 worst behavioral schools, elementary schools, and funneled them to Minerva Park. So you have, and the Westerville SRO tell us that that's the worst school and it's not even close. Like, it's not even close. The other SROs don't deal with 1/10 the number of issues that our SRO was dealing with. And we've told the school this, we're like, listen, Westerville schools, this is what you guys have created down here. The teachers were not happy. They came over to the new school thinking, oh, it's gonna be a new school. And then they got all the bratty kids. So they weren't happy. And they're trying to figure out how to get back to the school they came from. And it's just, there's some behavioral
T40 and 42.
problems at the school, which led to the incident with the SRO. where all you wanted to do was like, come on, let's go to the
Milwaukee
office.
Disabled, Northbound Elm Creek
And
at
it was
Global.
just an absolute refusal,
Blue
and then
Envoy
when
or
she
whatever.
smacked the officer's arm, he just, don't hit me, come on, let's go, and took her down to the office, so.
Didn't we try to get a couple other officers to come, like when he was off for some reason, none of them would, is that accurate, that none of the other officers would work?
Tell my SROs.
SROs, yes,
Yeah, Westerville SROs, yeah, they don't,
they wouldn't come in.
they won't come cover it.
Mhm.
So, like right now, there should be a Westerville officer probably working down there as an SRO, but I haven't seen one yet. Now, it's only been, Wednesday, it's only been 3 days. 4 days.
Yeah, technically 3 days.
It's only been 4 days.
4 days.
Today's the 4th day
Yeah.
that they haven't had an SRO. So there may be something in the works, I don't know. But we told them it was a temporary thing, but we don't have any plans on replacing that SRO at the moment. That may change. You know, somebody may step up and go, I want to be the SRO. And we'll be like, well, we'll talk to the school, maybe they don't want us.
So technically, and I'm just making sure I'm right, because so technically we do have an open position of an SRO, sorta, kinda, right now.
We could fill an SRO position. We just don't have a desire to do it right away. And it takes, to find the one that we had, took us 2 years?
It was a while.
2 years to find a person that we felt was gonna be the right fit. And for a while, it was great. They loved him. He was like one of the favorite SROs in the district.
It's really good with kids.
He, Channel 10 did a story on him,
Oh my gosh.
you know, so, it was working until it didn't. And then we saw the support we were getting from the school, because they kind of threw the officer under the bus, and then I said, well, time out. You guys were having him operate in a function that he is not trained for. And so they went, okay, yeah, we'll take partial blame for this.
Job description.
So, so then they were gonna set out the expectations, and then the officer's like, I can't do this. It's just too much, because every day it was just a constant, you know, give me a report, I need a report, you know, so a lot of those reports that are being taken in the village are all over the middle school. So, next report, you might see some numbers drop. Probably not, because we'll probably still go over and have to take the reports.
Anyone
Okay.
have anything else?
I know you mentioned in one of our meetings about one of the cars that were stolen, found. Was there any result on the other car? I only know.
They're both recovered.
Oh, okay, perfect.
And they made an app out of the second recovery, it was down in Whitehall.
Oh,
So, and it was a person from up here, frequent flyer. So, we think that he may be responsible for some of the car break-ins as well that we've had, but he's in jail right now.
Which would explain why we haven't had any car break-ins in a couple of days.
Are they consistent? Are people leaving keys in the cars? I'm just so not used to cars.
So the
being
keys were
stolen.
with that one, for sure, and, but they charged him with, tampering with evidence because of, he wouldn't tell him what he did with the keys. So,
I already know what kind of car they had them in.
what's that?
It's not important.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's really all I was curious about in general. I mean, I just thought about like, what should we tell people in the village how to protect themselves? Just lock your car.
So, turn on your porch light,
yeah.
you know, because that helps us. You know, the more lighting you have around your house, the less desirable it is for someone to come creeping around and start seeing if your car doors are locked or not. Locking your doors helps. There's people in the village who contend that, well, if I lock the doors, they'll just break the window, and then I gotta replace the window. And I'm like, they're not really busting out windows unless you've left your golf clubs in the back seat. something that they can look in and see. And then they go, okay, I'm gonna risk waking up the neighborhood for that item. Most of the time, they're just looking in there, if they don't see anything, they're not gonna bust the windows out. So keep all your expensive items out of the vehicles, lock your vehicles, you know, you should do the 9 o'clock check thing that they talk about, where you go around, you make sure your doors are locked, your windows are closed, they're locked, and your garage doors down, your doors, your car doors are locked, and your exterior lighting is on. You know, then think of it.
Fair enough. That's all I was just thinking about, like, you know, maybe newsletter blast or something to be like, hey guys, make sure you are
Yeah,
keeping your lights on.
yeah.
Think about that in January when everybody turns off their Christmas lights. And you're like, it's dark out. And it's dark for 17 hours a day.
You
Yeah.
know, I'm gonna knock wood here, but, 5, 6 years ago, we were having a rash of like, package thefts. Package from, you know, porches and stuff. And, now whenever, especially in first and second shift, when the Amazon trucks come through, our officers are kind of tailing them just to see if anybody's following them, stuff like that. Trying to mark where packages are in the village, so if they do leave big boxes on the front porch, we're like, okay, there's a box on that porch, we'll try to keep an extra eye on it, and we haven't had any package thefts in a while. So I'm like, I have 4 today, because I said that, but that's, you know, that's just, you know, they're doing those patrol things, those security things. So there's a lot of functions other than just stopping cars and you know, doing those things. Because a lot of times when I'm working, you know, and somebody's coming through at 30, I don't stop them, but I'll flash my lights at them just to go, I see you. And they like, you know.
Or they just keep driving down the 1-lane road that's open in a big vehicle that it's really.
And then I end up getting a ticket. They end up getting a ticket.
I think that's part of it is residents do have to understand that if they are on a call,
Victor call 36,
no,
I'll be 37.
they can't just sit on Minerva Lake Road 8 hours a day. And I think that that's the hard part because that's what we want to see.
Sure.
It's,
Troubleshoot.
believe it or not, there are other things. And again, it doesn't have to be outside of the village. You know, there are things that, whether it's an alarm drop or a business check or a whatever, they do have other jobs that that they're required to do by the chief. You know, they're to drive around the village and make sure.
Attending safety meetings.
And attending safety meetings. So right now, you literally have our officer sitting in here. In fairness, maybe, we do have one of our officers out for, a short amount of time. That's why he's here by himself right now.
Yeah.
For, I don't wanna say injury, not.
He had surgery.
Surgery, so,
He had to have surgery, shoulder surgery, and he's, recovered.
he'll be back, yeah.
So, it's only been 3 weeks, but he's
Yeah.
missed.
Well, but again, whatever we can do to help you have more eyes without them being physical eyes. So if in the future, I'm making this up, you know, a flock camera on every opening or whatever, you know, so that you guys at least have information about what's going on other places that you necessarily aren't physically. That's kind of where I'm coming from for down the road. Because again, I think we kind of have our income and maximizing it with probably not hiring a lot more personnel. We'll see how the future goes.
Yeah, I think personnel-wise, we're maxed out. You may consider one more, but I couldn't see the village getting past 11. And that would then free up the chief, a future chief. You know, it probably won't happen in my tenure, but there might be a future chief that would be able to just sit back and pontificate on how best to serve the village and, you know, do that 10,000-foot view and work on all those admin things, which as a patrolling chief, you have to balance. There's a lot of administrative work, and then you have patrol responsibilities as well. So like right now, at least for the next, I'm gonna say, probably 7 weeks, I'm gonna be patrolling, Monday through Friday. So I'll be working, but then I have like these other responsibilities, like, you mentioned the Ohio Association of Chiefs of Police. I have to have a district meeting. My next one in November will be here. I'll have it at this building so that I don't have to travel anywhere to go have conduct a meeting.
Yeah,
But I'll have like chiefs from all around Franklin County will show up, and then we also, the benefit, I believe, is that Minerva Park has a voice on the Ohio Association of Chiefs of Police Executive Board, which has the ear of state senators and congressmen when it comes to legislation that they're trying to pass. I'm there going, hey, we believe this is, we want to support this law. We do not want to support this law. And that's kind of a nice thing when you think about the villages having influence in
Yep.
state issues. So, there's the benefit, but then, that requires time. Like next Wednesday, we have the executive board meeting, but I may have to cancel. I'm not sure what there's 8th. Oh no, I'm good. I can actually go to that one. I was trying to think, it's the 15th is the
Yeah, you won't be there.
our meeting. So, and then this month is gonna be, I have to have eye surgery. Put that on the record. So, that's, I'm gonna be out for like 3 days, so we have to cover that with, so I'm pulling somebody from second shift to cover the Thursday and Friday.
But they always make it work.
yeah.
I do have a random, except I already forgot what it was, but it's not, so you're gonna have to give me a second. Oh, I know what it is.
Okay.
Go, you go.
No, quotas. I know that there was the law that was recently passed about no quotas. You had spoke on it briefly. I read it in an article, I don't know, at least I recall, like the FOP was like, yeah, everything's good, we really like this. Everybody worked together. Is that fair to say? Is the quota thing a good thing? Is it a challenge to implement and administer to our officers, or?
So, here's the issue. Well, there's actually a couple issues. I have a councilman who wants us to write tickets. How many tickets do you think the officer should write if he's doing his job?
What, many as he can?
More than 5? Like, how many do you think an officer could write in a day?
I'm sure a lot.
If they're just doing their job, and they're just driving around and they're patrolling and they're doing their, due diligence, and they see a traffic offense and they stop that vehicle, and multiple times a day, how many tickets do you think they should be able to produce in a week? If
That
they're
would
doing their
depend on a
job.
lot of different factors. One, how many people are breaking the law? Number two, how bad are the infractions? Like you said.
Well, you said that their cars through here are speeding like crazy. We need to go enforce that.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
If someone's
how many-
speeding and you see them speeding, then you pull them over, right?
During a road rage.
Or you just
23
wave at
miles
them and
per
let them
hour.
keep flying.
Want to report a black
Okay, so
Ford Charger,
you make the traffic stops, but how many
rejecting
tickets do you
and
think they
raging
should
with each
write?
other.
How many people are speeding in a day?
So every time someone's speeding, they should write that ticket.
If you're going,
See,
Well-
this is what I'm saying
But
with the
hold on.
quota bill.
Okay,
but I'm just going back to, do you think 31 miles an hour that's where the limit wants to be in a residential neighborhood that doesn't have any sidewalks? Right? Or should it be 27, 28?
So all
In a
speeders
neighborhood
over
that's, now keep in
27.
mind, a neighborhood that used to be 1 mile an hour over the speed limit, you got pulled over. So you have the legacy section that's not
Yeah.
used to people
So
going
the-
20 miles an hour over the speed limit.
Okay, we're getting into some philosophical points here, but the 1 and 2 mile hour over the speed limit has historically been shown to create distrust between the police departments and the community.
But here's the thing.
Because the heavy-handed
People-
enforcement like that leads to hatred of officers.
On the other
So-
hand, if you're too lenient, you have people running through this neighborhood very fast, people almost getting killed.
So the-
Couple times, three
so the
times,
30
like-
The 30-31 threshold that you were talking about, which is pretty much where most of the officers are, they'll stop them, give them the warnings and stuff, tell them to slow down.
So here's another thing. I was walking down the street the other day.
But I
and
want to
had
get back to
someone
the
go-
original point, because you've gone way off topic. I want to go back to the original point of the quotas,
Yeah.
which was a question that, Tommy asked. If I say, as a police officer, I would expect, if you're doing your job, there's kind of an expectation that you'd write, I don't know, 5, 6 tickets a week at least, because
That's not
I
more.
see those infractions out here. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry, chief, but, you just gave me a quota. Hey, you know what? I've noticed that in 2024, you didn't write a single ticket. Oh, chief, that's a quota.
Okay.
Now, you know what happens if I say that? Hey, Attorney General, this is an anonymous call from an officer, and my chief has given me a quota, and he needs to be investigated.
But you can't have officers sitting around in parking lots not enforcing the laws or protecting the neighborhood.
I agree. Now, I can sit there and go, hey, Officer Martin, you will go out and make 10 traffic stops a day.
Okay, see, that's why they probably stopped that or had that law in place, not to write quotas.
No, they quotas are about generating revenue. And we asked the senator that was putting this bill up to show us where this was happening in the state of Ohio. And they couldn't. There was not one department that they could point to that has a quota. This was a feel-good bill that got passed just to say, hey, because this quota thing doesn't exist. There's never been a quota. But we would sit there and go, hey, if you're an officer doing your job, there's no reason why you shouldn't have, 8, 10 stops. Because it's right there. I'll get in the car and show you the violations, officer, if you want to go out. Like, how are you not seeing these and writing tickets?
What discretion did you leverage to not make a choice?
So that's the thing, but it's, I can order them to make stops, I can't order them to write tickets. And that's what the quota brought around. Secondly, you're a narcotics officer. And you've been on a narcotics task force for 2 years and haven't made a single narcotics arrest. Hey, Officer Martin, or Detective Martin, I'm gonna move you off the task force because your productivity on the task force is indicating that you're not doing your job, so I'm gonna pull you off the task force. Oh, I'm sorry, did you say I need to make at least one arrest? That's a quota? Hello, Attorney General. My chief said that I had to make one arrest as a narcotics officer. That's a
Okay.
quota.
But can't you say this? If you see someone, for example, speeding through the village, driving recklessly, maybe you don't have to give them a ticket, but you can warn them, hey, educated traffic stops.
Yeah, I would love that.
And just say, hey, please stop speeding through the neighborhood, you're gonna hurt somebody.
Yeah, and we do that.
Okay,
If you look at my report, we're making like that 60 to 80 traffic stops. We're writing like 15 to 20 tickets, right? 15 to 30 sometimes. What do you think we're doing on those other 80 traffic stops? We're doing exactly what you just said. Hey, you're going 31 miles per hour, sir. The speed limit is 25. While I have you, let me check your driver's license, make sure it's valid, that you have your insurance, and that your vehicle registration is up to date. And I said, all right, sir, here's your, or ma'am, here's your paperback, here's your driver's license. Please pay attention to the speed limit, slow down, have a nice day. And out.
okay, but instead of saying quotas and stuff like that, couldn't you just, we're enforcing the laws that we have to make this neighborhood safe?
He's just saying you can't, he can't go, I'm gonna use Fout because he's our supervisor, he just can't go to Fout and say, hey, make sure all of our guys are pulling over at least 3 or 4 people this week.
But I'm not saying to say that. I know you can't say
Oh, no,
that.
I can order traffic stops. I can order you to go out and stop 10 cars a day. I just can't order you to write the tickets.
Correct.
Okay, instead of saying any of that, hey, our job is to protect the village as best as possible, do so. That's it.
That's it, do your job.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then what if you don't?
Well, then, I don't know, aren't you up for review or something like that after a while?
And then what?
We don't have, like if you're in sales and you don't sell a certain amount of whatever.
Quota.
That's a quota.
You see the problem now.
You have to
that this
manage
is- that
behaviors,
This is
not
created. This is why
necessarily
this is why the union, the FOP was like, this is the best law ever. It's been far too long.
Okay.
We haven't had this law.
How can you manage, and this is a question, maybe anyone else can chime in, how do you manage between doing the right thing, upholding the law, doing your job, not making quotas, understanding that there's leniency, there's gray areas, hey, this person hasn't got pulled over in so long, their kids are driving them nuts in the car, there's like 15 kids running around in a minivan, I don't know, something like that, and they haven't got any kind of priors, you just give them a nice warning or whatever, you send them on their merry way, as opposed to someone who's a habitual speeder and got pulled over with no insurance and no driver's license.
No
You know what I
driver's
mean?
license, they're gonna be a lot of trouble.
Okay,
that's
but
two
you see
acres
what
right
I'm going
there.
here? Right, but you see my, you know what I mean?
I think it's a
But I
good
think the
example
question
in
is why
park
are we
right now.
assuming that's not happening?
Yeah, that's what's going on right now.
Oh,
Well, I think that's where he's saying, so we write X amount of tickets, but the other 50 are either getting, I mean,
So this comes down to who we hire and setting out what our expectations are when we hire them. Say, listen, we're looking for people to enforce laws. Is that you? Will you go out there and, pull people over, issue citations when they deserve them, and, arrest the people that need arresting? Yes, sir, I'm gonna do that. I'm like, cool, we're gonna give you that opportunity.
okay, what?
The issue with the law is when they don't do that, now we have to figure out these ways to weed those people out that aren't doing that and getting rid of them.
So there's two sides of the spectrum. You have officers that are the cowboy, so to speak, and you have officers that might not do anything.
but I think what the other part to this is you're saying not do anything, you mean not giving a ticket, but they're running around the city on domestics, or they're running around the
I'm
city.
just giving a
Helping,
too extreme.
But I think that there's two different things. You have different things that go on different days and different times. So to say that, again, I think the discrepancy is everybody thinks police officers just give tickets or just pull people over for X.
They're more than just traffic enforcement.
They are more than just traffic enforcement. They're running to sheets because of a domestic, or they're running to, so I think that there is, and I'm not saying you're wrong at all. I think that the hard part is residents want to see people get pulled over for tickets for speeding. They do not care, and I'm saying this on a public record, they don't necessarily care about the things that they don't see, or they don't necessarily know about the other things. And I think that that's part of it. I don't think people realize that they really do go to people's houses to do things that, I mean, I'm gonna use this as an example because I don't wanna get this off this, but I do have a question for Chief, and it's something you guys are talking about. Noise ordinance. What are your thoughts? Do you have any questions, problems, or concerns? Because me personally, I know that we have had and this is going off of, not off of this, but I know that we have had almost every officer on second and potentially third shift has responded to a noise complaint, whether it's a party or whether it's the motorcycle that's the current issue. Recently, 3 of our officers have definitely responded to the motorcycle thing. So, they have now, I just know that they have now started about this noise ordinance again. I don't know why, how, or anything else, but they're gonna start talking about it. Do you have any concerns about the way our current noise ordinance is written for the officers, because they do have to enforce it?
So we have a decibel meter now,
Yes.
and the law pretty much states it's this decibel at the,
Certain distance, yeah.
at the
Property line or something.
property line.
Yeah.
Okay, so, for example, the motorcycles.
Yes.
Went over there and went, well, that's not violating the noise ordinance. Let's go check the back of the property. Hey, ma'am, can we walk in your yard? Yeah. Okay, it's not violating the noise ordinance. It's just annoying, but it's not against the law.
Right.
And that's where that push-pull comes. And the guy's very nice, the motorcycle guy's very nice. Now you go there and say, hey, neighbors complaining, he's like, all right, I'll shut it. You know, and he does. But
Yeah.
the loud parties and stuff, you go down there and it's like, oh, yeah, hey, listen, we were standing out the sidewalk, your party's too loud, this is the noise ordinance, here's a copy of it for you to read. We're just asking you to turn it down, it's getting late, and the neighbors starting to complain. And most people who live in the village are like, oh, yeah, you know what? I moved into this village for a reason, sure, and they tone it down, and everybody's happy because they want to be good neighbors. Occasionally, there are people who just go, what are you gonna do? Well, we'll give you a citation, you'll have to go to mayor's court, and, you know, and then eventually, you know, you have to go in and, you know, arrest somebody, I guess, because they just won't shut it down.
Do you know what our current noise ordinance or decibel level is?
I think it's 85,
Correct.
but,
It is.
Do you have any thoughts that that's too high? Because I think that's what Columbus is, correct me if I'm wrong, and that's.
Columbus is very
They're different.
nuanced. It's like 60 at certain times and at certain
Residential.
distances. But it's also, you have to be inside of the building where you believe the
For 1
offense is
hour.
taking place, and it has to be averaged over the period of an hour. And that applies to commercial as well, because commercial is like 70 decibels.
Commercial's up higher, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that it's just a different measuring technique, so it's two different types of units that we're looking at compared to
It's just to give you an
a
idea.
simple property line, 50 foot or whatever it is.
So I think the main question is, do you have any issues with our current noise ordinance? Do you think anything needs adjusted? And just, I know that they might be talking about it, and just to get your opinion, because they might be talking about it tonight.
yeah, I don't think we have any issues with
I don't
it.
either.
Our voices are 55 to 60 decibels, and I think
At what distance?
There we
right
go.
here, this, whatever, 4 or 5 feet, just talking in a room.
Yeah.
So would you think that's something like?
We've also been out-
60, 65? is
So we've
reasonable?
also been out, when we first got the decibel meter, we were out, you know, testing it, and we stood at the road while Joshua was mowing, and it didn't get over 85.
Yeah,
So it's like, that's a mower, you know, and it's like, you know, you're just like, okay. And then, you know, you've got a guy using a decibel meter, and it's showing that when a guy starts his truck, it goes up to 87.
And for how long?
88.
You know, it's 30 minutes, is it 3 seconds?
Yeah, and then it drops down to, you know, the high 70s. But, so, you know, it's like, is that technically a violation of the noise ordinance? Maybe, I don't know. You know, from a person's back porch to the road, and the truck's waking them up every morning at 5 a.m. You know, so we work with the residents to try to, is there someplace else you could park? You know, is there any place, you know? If you park here, I realize that might be a little too close to the apex of that intersection, but I'll instruct my guys not to write you a parking ticket, because I would rather have that vehicle parked there than have this constant, you know, annoying behavior, so.
411, good.
Does anybody have any other, I just assumed you guys might talk about that tonight. I just wanted his opinion, because he.
It's a good, I like it, I think you
Yeah.
brought it up, so we have some context from an enforcement standpoint.
I mean, it's just nice to know what's happening now, and we'll see.
hey, you have this right now
Trying
in
to
the
buy
basement?
here.
What's that?
Your decibel meter?
Yeah.
Can you bring it?
So you want me to go get it right now?
No,
Is it down? I know Val had it
It's
the
a
other
work
day.
session, I don't think, you're not planning on being at the meeting today, are you?
Okay, never
Oh.
mind, never mind.
No, but I knew that that was an issue, because we had, I've known that everybody has gone there, and I
It's like a
just.
blender in the kitchen is like, you know, 100 and some decibels, and it's just, there's a whole thing, like a fan, you know what it is, but it's about,
My wife on the
it's
phone.
about location too. Outdoors, when you're outside, that sound it dissipates this way. When you're inside, you know, you're getting, you know, contained sound, so, there's probably a whole science to acoustics, I would imagine.
Sound waves, yeah.
So,
Yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, anything else? Thank you. We appreciate this very much. And we'll do it again, I don't know, a couple months, maybe first of the year. Get through the holidays, see what kind of issues come up.
yeah. Hey, in the future, if you send me your questions ahead of time, I could probably do more research on them and give you better answers
Oh,
than just flying off the top of my head.
Well, these questions go off the top of my head.
I don't believe you. I think AI wrote those.
Well, I had help. I wrote them. It just rewrote them.
It just
for me.
rewrote them for you.
But I did write them. I
They were
had-
all your ideas.
They are.
They are all my ideas, I
Do you need a
understand.
motion to adjourn?
Motion, second.
Yay.
yeah.
Okay, are you guys ready?